Two people retire on the same day with the same amount in super. One owns their home outright, the other rents. Ask most retirement calculators, and they will give you the exact same answer for both of them. That answer is wrong for one of them, and it is usually the renter. So today, the honest numbers on retiring in Australia without owning a home. What the system actually gives you to make up the gap, and why it still isn't quite enough. Let's go. First, credit where it's due, because Centrelink does build in real help for renters, more than most people realise. If you don't own a home, your assets test threshold is significantly higher than a homeowner's. A single non-homeowner can have assets up to around $600,000 and still get the full pension, compared to around $333,000 for a homeowner. For a couple, it's around $766,000 versus around $499,000. That gap exists specifically because Centrelink recognises you don't have a paid-off asset behind you, so it lets you hold more in savings before your pension starts reducing. On top of that, there's rent assistance, paid directly on top of your pension if you're renting privately. Right now, that's up to around $215 a fortnight for a single person, or around $203 for a couple combined, with the amount rising as your rent rises up to that cap. So between the higher asset threshold and rent assistance, the system genuinely tries to close some of the gap between owning and renting. The partial pension cut-off point tells the same story. A homeowner single person's pension tapers to zero, somewhere around $733,000 in assets. A non-homeowner single person gets to hold assets up to around $1 million before the pension disappears entirely. And for a non-homeowner couple, that cut-off sits around $1.3 million. That's a genuinely large amount of extra room, and it's there deliberately, not as an accident of the formula. But here's the part that catches people, who stop reading at that good news, assume the system has fully levelled the playing field, and stop looking any further. It's not actually enough to close the whole gap, and the reason is structural, not a rounding error. A paid-off home is a cost that simply stops. Once it's yours, there's no more mortgage, no more rent ever again, just rates and maintenance. Rent never stops. It's not a cost you finish paying off at some point in retirement. It's a permanent, ongoing expense that also tends to rise over time, often faster than a pension does. So while the higher asset threshold gives a renter more room to hold savings, and rent assistance offsets part of the weekly cost, neither one replaces the fact that a homeowner's biggest housing cost disappears completely, while a renter's never does. Industry research on this is blunt about the size of the gap. Renters are broadly estimated to need somewhere in the order of double the superannuation of a homeowner to reach the same comfortable standard of living in retirement. Let's make that concrete. Take the figures we've covered before for a homeowner couple, around $500,000 in super alongside the pension, landing them in a genuinely comfortable retirement because their biggest housing cost is already gone. A renting couple with that same $500,000 gets the same part pension plus rent assistance on top, which sounds like it should even things out. But if their rent runs, say, $400 a week, that's over $20,000 a year going straight out the door before they've spent a cent on anything else. An expense the homeowner couple simply doesn't carry at all. Rent assistance covers only a portion of that, so the renting couple is typically looking at a modest retirement, at best on the same $500,000, not the comfortable one their homeowner equivalent enjoys. There's also a difference worth naming between renting as a couple and renting alone. A couple splits one rent between two people and two pensions, which is exactly why the numbers above still land in modest territory rather than something worse. A single renter is carrying the same rent on one income and one pension, with no one to share it with, which is precisely why singles are consistently the group most exposed to this gap. The higher single non-homeowner threshold and rent assistance help, but they're stretched further per person than a couple's ever are. So does that mean renting makes a comfortable retirement impossible? No, but it changes the target you're actually aiming for, and this is the part that actually matters more than the scary framing. If you know now that you'll likely be renting in retirement, the fix isn't panic, it's adjustment. It typically means aiming for a materially larger super balance than the homeowner benchmarks you'll see quoted everywhere, treating rent assistance as a genuine offset rather than the whole solution, and factoring in that your highest ongoing cost will still be there on the day you stop working, not gone like a mortgage. It can also mean looking honestly at location. The same super balance stretches considerably further against rent in a regional area than in an inner city suburb, and that single decision can move you from modest to comfortable more effectively than almost any other lever available to a renter. And if the numbers are tight as retirement approaches, working a little longer or using the work bonus to keep some income coming in without losing pension along the way, buys valuable time to build the larger buffer a renter genuinely needs. Some renters also look seriously at community housing or long-term affordable rental options, specifically because they remove some of that open-ended rent growth risk, which a private rental doesn't protect you from at all. These properties are usually run by not-for-profit housing providers, often with rents set at a fixed percentage of your income rather than at the mercy of the private market. And while waiting lists can be long, getting your name down years before you actually need it is exactly the kind of early, unglamorous step that quietly removes the biggest source of uncertainty a renter faces in retirement: not knowing what your rent will be in 10 years' time. In practical terms, if the standard homeowner benchmark for a comfortable couple's retirement sits around $500,000, a renting couple aiming for that same comfortable standard should realistically be targeting somewhere closer to double that, precisely because rent is doing the job a paid-off home would otherwise be doing for free. The honest takeaway is this: Centrelink does more for renters than most people assume, through the higher asset threshold and rent assistance together. But neither one is designed to fully replace the advantage of owning your home outright, and pretending otherwise is exactly how renters end up undersaving against a benchmark that was never built for their situation in the first place. Know that you need meaningfully more than the standard homeowner numbers, and plan against your actual number, not someone else's. 2 honest notes before you go. First, rent assistance rates, asset thresholds and the pension itself are all indexed and reviewed regularly. So confirm the current figures with Services Australia before relying on them. Second, this is general information, not personal advice. How much you specifically need depends on your rent, your location, and your own retirement plans. So this is exactly the kind of thing to model properly with a licensed financial advisor or a free financial information service appointment through Services Australia. If you're planning to rent in retirement, tell me in the comments. It helps me know what to cover next. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.